Hi there. So for this video, we are going to make a mold of this awesome acrylic blank. My friend's husband made this on his Glowforge. I did not do a good job at keeping it safe before making it this far into my idea. So it's not going to be a perfect mold, but since it's going to be mostly glitter, these minor imperfections won't be as noticeable. But in a perfect world, this is perfect. I should have taken better care of it, but I've had it for like a month and a half, and I just was not good. So we've got some cardboard. I'm actually going to use this shiny cardboard that is a piece of just a tumbler box. And for this time around, we're going to do the upside down packing tape technique. So I've got my silicone parts here, my silicone rubber, got gloves, stir stick, scissors, tape. Really the only thing missing here is my mixing cup. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the parts that I need. That didn't tear quite right, so I'm going to use these sides here. But I just need to make a big enough area to go around it with a little bit of space there. You don't need a ton of space, but you need at least enough edging here to give it some support. Otherwise, if it's too thin, it's just not going to work out nicely. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit deeper and a little bit bigger than my shape. So nice and thin walls. Shallow is a better word for that. And the top doesn't have to be perfect, but the bottom needs to be pretty good. That way you can get a good seal. You can seal it with hot glue if you want, or you can do just a good seal with tape. So just like that is what we're going to do right there. That right there. Yeah. So let's cut another one of these. Got that cut there. Let's crease that in the same spot ahead of time, make it a little easier on ourselves here. So I want to connect these as best as I can to make a nice hinge there, just like that. I got that too far over, but that's okay. Just like that. I actually got this a little too far overlapped here. I'm just going to trim that up really easily. Just like that. So now I'm going to do this a little bit easier than what I feel like I might have otherwise done. So I'm going to use a clipboard to keep our tape from curling up and away from us. So just like that. I'll hold it steady just like that. Okay. Fold that up. Should have given myself a little bit more of an edge there, but I'll go back over it, no big deal. I want to seal those edges really good. You don't want your mold box to be much bigger than your mold for a couple of reasons. One of them is it just saves on the silicone rubber supply itself. The other is you don't really need it. This piece is a little tall, so we're going to trim it down just like that. Just for good measure, I'm going to go this way as well, just because I don't feel like that edge is quite as sealed as I feel like it needs to be. My scissors are getting gunky. Get that cleaned off of there. All right, I'm going to do that a couple more times to get the bottom completely sealed up. And then we'll get on to the next part. Got our little enclosure done here now. And I want to carefully place this in here. And then I'm going to press that down. You want the back down. And then just very carefully, just like that. Since I've got the fingerprints off of the front, I'm going to use my glove now to press that down. You want to make sure and get a good seal all the way around here where the tape is stuck to your acrylic. And I just put my fingers all over that thing. Good grief. Yeah, okay. So I got the fingerprints off of there. Now I'm just making sure that my edges are completely pressed like I need it. I've got a nice edge around all four sides. I've got some depth there. I don't have to fill this all the way up. I just have to go a good little bit. You can kind of see how thick or thin some of the other molds that you might have laying around are. So basically I want to fill it up to about right there. Maybe right there. That would be plenty of depth. So we're going to do that. And then once I get this on here, because this is trying to be a pill, I'm going to put something like an old book just right there, just to hold all four corners down. That way I don't have to worry about it lifting while this is curing. So let's mix up the rubber now. Got equal parts here. You can see the white and the blue. We're just gonna sit here and mix thoroughly. I don't wanna whisk it. I don't wanna like, pa, 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 pa. I don't wanna do that because I don't want excess air bubbles in there. But be sure and do good mixing. Scrape the sides, scrape the bottom, and watch for complete mix. You shouldn't see any swirls of any other colors anywhere. If you have a clear mixing cup, that's helpful. That's why I'm using this. I just got it at a garage sale a couple months ago. Make sure to follow your particular directions. That particular one, the Let's Resin, that is a 1-to-1. But if I was using the silicone rubber kit like from Hobby Lobby or Joann's, then that's actually like a 1-to-10 ratio. But this particular one is 1-to-1. They're all a little bit different. Just like with your epoxy, you want to mix it according to what your instructions say, not just winging it, because otherwise it won't cure properly. But like I said, make sure and scrape the sides, clean off your scraper here or your mixer. I made the mistake of using a silicone mixing tool one day, and then I didn't wipe it off. It was really dumb. So, oh, I've got glitter in there. That's okay. It's not really going to do anything to what I'm accomplishing here. So I'm mixed pretty good there. I'm grabbing my edges one more time just to be sure. Some kits may say mix for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. This one, you just mix it till it's thoroughly mixed. And now we are going to pour it right on there. You want to try and pour it where you won't end up with as many air bubbles, so you don't want to just dump it. You want to go nice and slow so you can fill in all the spaces. I'm really excited about this because the way this particular etching was done, when I do glitter, those spots right there for the letters are going to be dull, and so they're going to stand out on whatever glitter I'm using. It's going to be awesome. Really, really excited. At the end of the video, I'll actually show a completed one. One thing too, most of these are going to have the bubbles kind of self-rising, so to speak, but that might be something that you have to tap them down. I've seen some where you had to just kind of pop them like that. Just keep an eye on that. So now I'm just going to let it flow over. Now that I know I've got the letters themselves enclosed or filled in really well, we're just going to do this now. And I'm just letting it flow over the edges. Just like that. And now that I can't see my particular piece there, then I'm in good shape. But I'm at my deeper line. I've got just a little bit of this left, so I'm going to just go ahead and pour it because there's no reason not to. I'd rather pour it in there rather than waste it. All right, so we'll clean that out later. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my stir stick because it's much easier than cleaning it off later. You can kind of see those air bubbles there. Let's just pat them down. Actually, that might be better. Yep, I'm going to let some more of those air bubbles rise to the surface. I can kind of see them popping. I'll do that. I'll let that sit for a minute, and then I'm going to tap this again from underneath. And I'm going to put a somewhat heavy book, not crazy heavy, but heavy enough to do the job, just to kind of pin that down so I don't end up with rounded edges on accident. And then we're going to let it sit overnight. It will tell you in your instructions. This one doesn't have it on the bottle, but I have my paper instructions around. I've got to give it 24 hours to cure. They're all a little bit different. I think 12 hours before I can unmold, I'm pretty sure, but 24 before I can actually use the mold for a project. Here's a quick little check-in. I had 2 books on top of it overnight. So here is what it looks like. It's not quite ready to unmold, but it's looking pretty good. I am not worried that that's in there a little bit crooked. It's for me. It's for my own personal use. But I am stoked. My edges look really clean. I don't see any air bubbles in the letters themselves. I see air bubbles in the tape. Who cares? That's coming off. But I don't see any major anything going on in my letters there, so I'm really excited. I don't see anything weird looking around the edges of the actual acrylic. So this cannot be unmolded until after I get back from work. This particular one, 12 to 24 hours. So we'll see. It actually doesn't say on here how long it'll be before I can actually use it. So I'll wait another day just for giggles. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I know when I did the last one with the dominoes, I made the mold, but then I didn't have time to turn around and use it right away. So it actually had a couple of days to cure. But I'm excited. I'll come back to this tonight when I get off work. Take that bad boy out of there. So you ever have one of those dreadful thoughts when you're trying to go to sleep and you really should be doing something else, and then you forget about it, and then later on you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. I thought about this. That's me. I did not spray that with mold release. I don't think it's going to matter, but it kept me awake a little bit last night, and then I forgot about it. So I'm cutting right here on the cardboard itself because I kind of want to reuse this again because I want to make a couple of these so that I can make multiples of this keychain at one time. So I'm just kind of doing that right there. Well, you know, if it was working right, that's what I was doing. How about let's just go this way with it. Why would anything go as planned? That would be too easy, right? I mean, silver lining is that glossy cardboard definitely did well as far as it releasing quite nicely. It's a hot mess. Oh my goodness. There. All of that just to save this tiny little piece of cardboard here. So I'm just taking my tape off really quickly. And now I'm going to carefully remove my mold from my acrylic. I'm going to let this sit another day before I actually pour anything in here. But overall, I'm really excited about that. Got my raised area just like I needed it. I don't think that spot right there is going to be that noticeable once it's actually made out of glitter. Pretty excited. So it is still pretty sticky. And my instructions say that if it's still sticky after 24 hours to let it sit another 1 to 3 days. So while that does that, I'm just going to go ahead and make another version of it. And that way they're both ready about the same time. Just trimming that. One disadvantage of epoxy is that whole meniscus effect. It gives it such a weird little dip. I feel like I've said that word a lot lately. But there we go. So I'm going to set this off to the side on a shelf that it won't be messed with or bumped or whatever. Just kind of let it be until tomorrow, and then we'll pour a test run in here. Okay, moment of truth. I poured this last night with Landon 0.15. It's brand new color. It's not on the site yet, but it will be at the beginning of December. So I like to just gently break apart on the molds.
I feel like it just kind of preserves them, keeps them from getting, I don't know, the edge is kind of messed up here. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm so excited. Now I got to make a whole bunch more of these because I work with 11 other people, and I got to make one for everyone for Christmas. So, good luck on your next mold. That tape technique was very easy, much easier than the hot glue method that I did before. A lot easier cleanup, that's for sure, because I still haven't bothered taking the hot glue off those other ones. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. Have a good one.